What are the odds that something so terrible will happen, your everyday life will be completely turned upside down, leaving you unable to meet even basic financial needs? 1 in a million? Well, across the HCR ManorCare family of employees, the unthinkable does happen. And when it does, we come together as a group to embrace, uplift, and help our fellow employees move forward. We call this 1 in a million response the Hug Fund. The Hug Fund connects us together as we give and respond to the urgent financial needs of fellow employees nationwide when they're impacted by illness, death, accident, or other catastrophic events beyond their control. These are real stories of trial, hope, and thanks. These are the 1 in a million stories of the Hug Fund.
My name is Donna, and I work at ManorCare in Laurel, Pennsylvania, and I'm an LPN, and I work on a unit with a bunch of great staff and people. My residents are wonderful, and they're like family.
When Donna decided to rally with her friends for a fun day of motorcycling, the last thing she expected to happen was a devastating accident.
And I was at an intersection. I tried to cross the intersection on a green light and was cut off and actually hit me on my left side. I didn't know that I had actually shattered my entire left leg, my entire left wrist. I had no pain. I was in complete shock. I didn't know what was going on other than the fact that there was all these people around me and I started bleeding.
Shattered bones, multiple surgeries, and dire financial stress forced her into the difficult position of going from passionate caregiver to reluctant care recipient.
I was in intensive care probably about 6 hours before they kicked me out because I couldn't stand being taken care of because I'm the caregiver, not the taken care of person. And I was on the phone with my boss at 4:30 in the morning asking her when I could come back to work. They put pins and plates in both my wrist and my leg, and I was in the hospital a whole 3 days before I went home on my own with a walker. Financially, we were in dire straits. I really was really down and out. I mean, it was to the point where we were actually looking around the house for change to get together to pay for just enough for us to eat for the week. So, of course, I'm getting phone calls all the time from my HR, from the Laureldale ManorCare, and she keeps pushing me and pushing me and pushing me to apply for the Hug Fund. So I swallowed my pride and I wrote everything down, and it was funny because within 3 days I get a call from Kathy and she's telling me that I got this Hug Fund. Well, I felt like I won the lottery. Getting back in my own element, I started having a little bit of pain, a little bit of swelling, and I kind of like blew it off for a while until it got to the point where I couldn't stand it anymore, and I went back to the doctors. They had done some x-rays, and I come to find out that I have to start all over again because all my pins are broken, and now the bone that the pins were holding is now becoming deformed. So I have to go through this again. I already had utilized all of my vacation the year before. It's the beginning of the year, which means no sick time. I have a pre-existing condition, so I have no short-term disability. My HR tried to talk me into doing the Hug Fund again. I had to swallow my pride one more time, and I got a phone call from Kathy that said that I received the Hug Fund.
Through generous assistance from the Hug Fund, Donna's fellow employees quickly rallied around her and her family, helping to meet daily expenses during her long recovery and eventually enabling her to get back to work doing what she does best, caring for patients.
Who thought that less than a year ago I was going to get hit by a car, end up in a hospital for a couple days, and end up having 3 surgeries in a year? They helped me not once, but twice. Getting back on my feet, I'm going to try to be one of those 1 in a million that try to help the Hug Fund so that maybe somebody else could be 1 in a million.
My name is Cindy, and I work at HCR in the HR department. A lot of people just are always there to help you and be supportive of you. They're just a very close-knit family.
Springtime tornado warnings are not uncommon in the Midwest. So when the sirens sounded once again, Cindy and her family knew what to do: wait out the storm together in the basement, and then get back to the daily action of a busy family life.
That day was my birthday, actually, and I was preparing for my daughter's graduation, which was going to be that following day. Katie was the valedictorian, so of course it was a very special, exciting night for us. It got to be evening, and the weather started getting a little iffy. Decided that we should probably go down to the basement, and we were down there for probably about 10 minutes. That's when my husband went upstairs to plug in the generator so that if we lost power, it would be connected to the sub pump. The wind was really starting to pick up, and we really didn't, I truly didn't think a tornado was coming. I always went down the basement. I've always been a little nervous about bad weather, and I just figured it was another, windy, stormy storm coming through.
This usual drill turned into a one-in-a-million nightmare. As a powerful tornado destroyed her home, many houses in her neighborhood, her daughter's school, and claimed the life of Ted, her husband of 21 years.
It just was amazing what a tornado does. Everything is just shredded. Basically, if you're in the line of the main part of the tornado, it's just gone. When it hit our house, there was nothing. You just looked up to the sky and there was no walls, floors, nothing. It was just gone. We had neighbors come over and they helped us get out of there. My son and I had some cinder blocks on our legs, so we couldn't get up, but we weren't really hurt. We had a couple scratches and they helped us out. At that point, we just said that Ted was upstairs, plugging in the generator, and they started looking for him, and they couldn't find him. At one point, they had to halt the search because of the next storm that came through a couple hours later, and so they actually found him about 9 o'clock the next morning.
The Hug Fund, plus compassionate outreach across the HCR ManorCare family, is helping Cindy pick up the pieces and move forward.
And there was just, 50, 60, 70 people on my property cleaning up. I had somebody come up to me and tell me they found my husband's wedding ring. It was like finding a needle in a haystack. It was probably 2 days later, somebody found my wedding ring. So I wear them both now, and it's just a neat thing, yeah. We had the clothes on our backs that day. Whatever we had on that night when we were getting ready to go to bed, that's what we had. So the Hug Fund really helped by letting us get out there and get our essentials that we needed. I think it just brings a lot of the employees closer together, just to show how much they care for each other and that they're willing to give their own money to help their own people. That was a 1 in a million chance that would happen, and it happens to people. You see it on the TV, you see it on the news, and it just doesn't seem real until it really happens. Number one, the Hug Fund is really important to a lot of people. Even if you feel that you don't have the money to do it and you feel like you can't afford to do it, even $1 or $2 a month is going to make a difference in somebody else's life.
As a longtime hospice social worker, Marcia is very familiar with the often difficult journey people travel when faced with debilitating illness and questions about mortality.
I was an employee with Heartland for almost 13 years. I was, accustomed or adjusted to the issue of having a severe illness, but never dreamt that I would be needing financial help.
When the tables were turned and she discovered she was fighting her own battle against cancer, Marcia gained a new first-hand perspective on what simple, selfless gestures of caring mean to those in desperate need.
In 2003, I was diagnosed with breast cancer, and when I was diagnosed at stage 4. It had metastasized to my bones. I was laid out. There was no working. I was really stressed out, which of course was complicating my situation in the hospital. My doctor was even talking about making a social work referral for me. Didn't have a dime in savings, and I didn't have any kind of paid leave. I haven't missed a house payment for 18 years in this place, and I'm at the point where one house payment now could start a process of foreclosure. That was very real. When that news came through that I had that, I was getting that, I breathed such a sigh of relief that I'm sure it helped with my recovery, truly.
With her disease now diagnosed as terminal, the Hug Fund and other support from her HCR ManorCare family enabled Marcia to live in the comfort of her own home with a sense of relief, peace, and gratitude for the many 1 in a million experiences she's had along the way.
I am now on hospice. I'm now a hospice patient, and Heartland is still taking care of me. This is where I can cry because I really do feel that they're family and they care about me. Here I am, a year and a half almost past thinking I might lose my house, and look how comfortable I am. I work for a company that the employees are motivated to look out for each other. Even a nickel, a penny, don't be embarrassed as far as the amount that you're donating. I was there to help other people, and you know, what were the odds that I was going to need the help like I did when I needed it? It's amazing. And I just pray every day a prayer of thanks, and I just can't believe, again, I feel like 1 in a million.
Consider how you are 1 in a million. Out of all the healthcare companies today, you are part of a totally responsive family of people connected together and dedicated to caring for our patients and one another. And if the once unthinkable day comes where you or someone you work with find yourself in dark times, these same people will be there to offer a hand up and support moving forward. Please participate in supporting the Hug Fund today. Even the smallest donations add up to make real, immediate differences in the lives of people just like you. Together, we are the Hug Fund. Together, we are 1 in a million.